Good morning. That was lovely. Thank you to Jean and Vern for their kindness and making this beautiful intro video. So here we are on a beautiful Sunday morning. Let's take a few minutes to settle in and get ready. So listen to the bell, close your eyes, and allow your body to relax by taking a few nice, slow, deep breaths. And find your breath filling your heart with love, clearing the way so there's only love. Emptying it of everything else. And let there be love. And feel the pathway from your breath to your heart open so that you're even more receptive to this experience of being together on Facebook Live and the rebroadcast on Facebook and on YouTube. Just take one more breath. And just let yourself remember that in this breath, all is well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching, when you're watching, how you're watching. I'm so happy to be here today with a new topic. For the month of May, we're exploring Listen to Your Heart. And today it's staying on the heart path. So I want to talk about how the heart path really is the only path we're on, and how we can remember that and trust that and surrender to that. So my name is Frankie. I'm the spiritual director at Center for Spiritual Living Morristown in beautiful, historic Morristown, New Jersey. And we teach the science of mind philosophy. You can find us on the website www.cslmorristown.org and explore, and maybe email us or find our phone number, ask us some questions. We're here to support you and to be part of our community, because even though the building may be closed, the center is wide open and opening even wider. So I love to see that you're here, where you're from, whether you have questions or comments, or pop the bubbles, tag someone, share this with somebody, invite somebody in for this message, and we will always be in service to you. I always look later at all the comments and the questions and weave them into whatever is the best next yet to be. So I want to talk today and back up a little bit on what I'm going to talk about today. As I mentioned before, We are truly experiencing a deeper listening. So the theme for May is built into the theme for 2020, which is 2020 vision. And the theme for May is listen to your heart. And those of you that have been following me this month know kind of what I've talked about. And those of you that haven't, you can still find each talk for the month on YouTube or on Facebook Live here on our page. With the first week, I talked about how the heart knows. There's a period. The heart knows. Your heart already knows what it knows, that it knows, and it knows everything. And then the week after was Mother's Day, and the topic was the heart of the mother, which is the universal mother, which is the feminine aspect of the divine, which is our own heart. They're not separate here and there. It's one heart. It's our heart. And then last week I talked about the mind-heart marriage, of how they are one and inseparable. And when we live too much in the one, we find there's an imbalance. So today, my topic is staying on the heart path. Staying on the heart path. And I want to talk about how when our hearts break, it's not something that's wrong or bad or to resist, but it means our heart is actually opening. It's open to the flow of divine love. And that the path we're on already is a path of love. That's the only path we can be on. Because remember, there's only one path, there's only one life, there's only one love, there's only the oneness of all life. And then I want to talk about how we can remember that. Because that's really important, that we remember that we stay awake to it. So this weekend, for most of us, we've been quarantined for almost 3 months. And those who haven't been quarantined and who are the service providers, the frontliners, have been working so hard. And they're in my heart, for sure, in my heart and prayers, for sure. But 3 months is amazing, right? It doesn't seem like it's 3 months. And so the other thing that's happening is Memorial Day. Memorial Day is where we honor those who've lost their lives in service to our country. It started about 150 years ago, and since then, more than 1 million have passed. And when we think about COVID-19, we know that more or less today, there are 344,000 who have passed from this disease. And in our country, almost 100,000. My sense is that this may be a weekend where we become aware of how much grief we have and or those around us have or people in the world have from all that loss. I have a friend who lost someone in the Vietnam War, and she still grieves on a regular basis. And it's always beautiful to talk about because grief changes, right? But it's also about open-heartedness. So maybe you feel the grief for yourself and your loved ones, or for those in the world around you, or the world at large. Or maybe you're not even able to. Maybe it feels like if you open that floodgate, you're gone. And so there is that feeling in the air of how much grief there is and how much brokenheartedness there is. And I truly believe today, I didn't always, that a broken heart is an open heart. Because of all the losses I've experienced, especially in my family and some friends, I've learned that a broken heart is an open heart. It's in the resistance that we suffer, in not wanting to feel it that we suffer. And so when the heart is open, love can flow. When the heart is closed, it can't flow, and we can feel that. It's also when we think about heart disease or heart attacks, it's similar. It's a closedness. And so when the heart is open, healing can happen because we recognize that there is only wholeness. And so we are allowing then, in our open-heartedness, we are allowing the healing to happen. We are allowing the love to flow. When the love flows, healing can happen. And so what I have come to know is that there is only one path, and that's the path of love. I really believe that the spiritual path that we're on is the path of opening to love, remembering love, being love, becoming love, surrendering to love, and letting love be our guide. And so I know today that love, the path of love, the path of heart, is the only path. It's the only path. And so realizing then, making realize that love is all there is, then love becomes our home base. And the path of heart is our home base. And our heart is our home base. When we listen long enough and are still long enough, we begin to feel the heartbeat, not just of our own, but the heartbeat of the divine in us, the heartbeat of the world, the heartbeat of the oneness of all life. And so that is to be trusted. We get to come to trust that we're already on the path of love, and that the path of love is the only path there is, and that we're always on it, whether we think it, believe it, see it, or not. And so the question then is, what seems to take me off the path? What appears to make me feel that I'm not on the path of love, which is usually the mind, right? Because we're thinking we're not on it. And so we get to explore that when we encounter an experience of being at a fork in the road. Do I go this way, or do I go that way? Or is there another way, or are many other ways? We experience that when we feel like we are having to make a detour. I remember many years ago, I was visiting a friend in Pennsylvania, and I was on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. That's the longest turnpike on the planet. It feels like it never ends. And I was supposed to come home, so I was supposed to go east on the turnpike. For some reason, I was going west, and I didn't realize it until I was an hour west. And then it took me another while to find the next exit, because there aren't too many exits on the Turnpike West once you get outside Philly. And so once I turned around, I turned on the radio and decided to listen to a program, and it was the most magical program. I don't remember now what it was, but it was a magical experience, a magical program that lasted exactly an hour. So I knew I was supposed to hear that program. And I just relaxed and surrendered instead of cursing, complaining, and worrying. So the same with a roadblock, right? A literal one and not so literal. Can we trust that? And so maybe that you've lost your job, or a relationship has ended, or you have no money, or you have been diagnosed with an illness, or anything that the mind might say, roadblock, or fork in the road, or oh, detour. What if that is part of our spiritual adventure? What if that is part of our spiritual awakening? What if we can think about it as a gift and a blessing, and truly trust that the path of love is not straying us, that we're never straying from the true path, and really believe that, have faith in that, really trust that? Because there really are no mistakes. In a spiritual universe where there is the oneness of all life, it cannot ever be true that there are mistakes. Mistakes are of the world of mind, the world of, with a small m, the world of separation, the world of duality. And so what I've discovered, actually, is there are no mistakes. That everything is for me and for my good. And if and when I can trust that and reflect on that, I always find the gold. I always find the gold. I always find the gems. And so there's only one path. There aren't 2, 3, 4 paths. There aren't the broken paths and the good paths, the right paths and the wrong paths. There's just the one path that is for our spiritual awakening. It is always impossible that there's anything wrong on this path of our own evolution. So we get to see that getting lost or feeling like there's a detour is a gift and a blessing. And maybe there's even no beginning and end. It's just an ongoing unfolding, like the infinity sign, the 8 upside down. There's no beginning, no end. There's no broken parts. It's all the oneness. So let yourself be willing to think and know that there is no detour. There are no mistakes. That you can't mess up. You cannot mess up. You didn't make a mistake. And at the voice of there's mistakes, I'm doing it wrong, it's not right, I'm at the end of the road, is just the voice of separation, the voice of duality, the voice of not knowing, not seeing. It's the voice of being on the surface. It's the voice of pain. The voice of pain tends to be in resistance. And when we're in resistance, we can't see. And when we can't see, we can't know the truth. We can't receive the gift. We can't see the gold. And so the invitation today on this path of heart and staying on the path is to embrace all of it. To just embrace all of it. To celebrate all of it. And so that means that I have to say, and I have to know, and I have to affirm that I am an instrument of the divine. I already am on the path of love. So I'm telling you, you are an instrument of the divine. You are already on the path of love. That is the only path that's possible. That is the only path that is real. You are a channel of divine love, whether you believe it or not, see it or not, accept it or not. So pay attention to the stories that you tell yourself. The path of love is a path of awakening. When we suffer, we're just asleep. We haven't awakened yet. That's not a good or bad thing. That's just an experience. And so the heart needs to break so that it can see the truth, so it can know the truth. It's a necessary part of our human spiritual evolution as one. It's part of our awakening to the oneness of all life. And I believe suffering is optional. Suffering is optional because suffering says, I'm not on the path. I'm separate. There's love and fear. There's love and worry. There's love and anxiety. It's just a messenger. It's just information. And it's not the truth with a capital T. It's just an experience to awaken us. See, I believe that we are here to express our true nature, to live our highest, best, truest self, which already is within us, already is who and what we are. We already came into this expression with it. It's our essential self, our soul self, our real self, and it is pure love. Nothing else compares, and nothing else matters. So we can identify with our truest self instead of our stories of woe, our stories of difficulty, our stories of challenge, our blocks in the road, our disconnect, our heartbreak, or we can identify with the truth of our very nature, the path of love that we're already on. Love revealed means healed. We are healed. The wholeness underneath the stories is what wants to be lived and expressed. I love what Ernest Holmes has to say in the book, The Power of Good, Lesson 10. There is within ourselves the answer to every question and the solution of every problem that Spirit makes the demand, and will answer that demand from within when we allow ourselves to wait for the mental storm to die down. Be still and know is the secret of guidance, as it is of every problem of life. A perturbed mind can never get the correct answer. A stilled mind always can, because the answer comes from God within. So the invitation is to know we're already on the path of love, to be awake to it, to stay on it, to commit to it more deeply, to live in the oneness of all life, to trust this path of love is already the path you're on, and to stay in the heart, to stay centered at home base, the heart of love. So let your heart break and listen to the flow of love moving through you. Bless the path you're on, and remember that love is all there is. This for yourself and for everyone else, because we're here to remind not only ourselves and each other, but everyone. So I have a few things I want to tell you about, and then I will close with a healing treatment. I invite you to go to our website, and if you feel so moved to support our center and the beautiful work it's doing, there is a place on the website where you can give and make a donation. We welcome that with all our heart, and we'll put it to good use. There's all kinds of places where you can find us: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Meetup. You can email us, you can phone us. And we have some wonderful events. We're doing a Wednesday evening thing. On Wednesday is the last one of the mindfulness series. It's Mindfulness on Money. Anyone can join us. Just email us your address. We'll send you the link to Zoom. On Saturdays, I'm doing your treatment hour at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we spend an hour just talking about spiritual mind treatment, and I do treatments for whoever is in need. And we have, of course, our Sunday social hour, if you'd like to be a part of that. That's going to happen soon after this. And last but not least, thank you for visiting. Thank you for being you. Thank you for connecting on the path of love. And let's close with a healing treatment. So right here, right now, there is love, and only love. Even what doesn't look like love is love revealing itself. So right here and right now, I open my heart to the divine, which is the unconditional, infinite love of the universe, everywhere, present in everyone, everything, all the time. As I open my heart to this truth, it floods through my very being, my heart, my mind, my soul, my affairs, my experiences, and awakens me to see the truth revealing itself. And as it does, I claim it, I am it, I live it, I share it, I celebrate it, and whatever doesn't serve me simply falls away and or becomes part of the oneness of all life. In the beauty of this moment, I am blessed, I am celebrated, and I connect with anyone and everyone beyond this broadcast, in this broadcast, remembering to use my heart and my breath to celebrate that love is all there is, and it's available to every being on this planet, and it can heal and bring us back to our inherent wholeness. And so it is. Thank you. Have a beautiful day and a beautiful weekend.